In this video, we are going to show you how to archive old data from Salesforce using tray.io. Hi, I'm Enrico Simonetti from Naonis, and I help you automate and integrate your business software. There is a common problem for businesses, which is the growing amounts of data stored in multiple places that in some cases can cost you a considerable amount of money. To archive Salesforce records, we have built a simple and effective workflow in tray.io. The workflow finds all the records in batches of 100 at a time, backs them up in a CSV file, and then deletes them from Salesforce, reducing your ongoing data costs. As you can see in our Salesforce demo system, a good portion of our data is used by a custom object, and we want to free that space up. This can apply to your production Salesforce environment if you have, for example, old leads or call records that you might want to archive. Let's look at the workflow. In simple terms, we get data out of Salesforce, and if there is data, we create a CSV and we dump the data into the CSV. Then we delete the data from Salesforce, and finally, we export and delete the CSV. Now it's demo time. Let's check again the number of records. We have 351 records for call details, which is a custom object in Salesforce that we built. Now, if we look at the retrieval part of the workflow, we can see that we retrieve call details that have been created before a certain time frame. We know that we have about 30 records. Then we run the workflow and we check the number again and see that it has decreased. Now we have 323 records. We can now change the filter date to make sure that all the records in that module are deleted. In our scenario, that's what we want to achieve. After changing that value, we can run the workflow again. We can now check again the storage usage, and we can see that there are no records for call details. If we go in our workflow execution in tray.io and we look at the last execution, there is a step that exports the CSV file. If we now grab that URL and open it in our browser, we can download the CSV file and we can open it. And we can see all our data has been exported correctly. And we can keep these for future use or archival purposes. This concludes our demo. Now let's have a look at the workflow in more details. The first step is to filter for specific conditions on the Salesforce connector. In our case, it's based on date created and object type, and we retrieve 100 records at a time. If we have results, let's expand this. We check if a CSV exists, and if not, we create it with the columns of the data. We sanitize the data so that null values become empty if present, and then we add the data to the CSV. Then we get all the IDs of the records in this page, and finally we delete the batch of 100 or less retrieved records. Eventually, If we don't have any more results or records retrieved from Salesforce, we break out the loop and proceed further. We check if the CSV is there, and if it's there, we export it to a file and then we delete the CSV. You can run this solution either on demand as you need it or schedule it to run automatically, depending on your specific needs. Now let's have a look at the execution logs for the last execution. If we scroll all the way up, we can see the starting point was a manual trigger. We retrieve 100 records. We create the CSV the first time. We add the batch of records into the CSV and we can see row inserted 100. We get all the IDs back and delete that batch. And then we keep looping until we have results. So we go towards the last execution. We can see the last execution returns 0 results. So we break out of the loop. We export the CSV to a URL which is accessible by us, and then we delete the CSV. In this video, we had a look at how easy it is with Trade.io to build a utility tool to help you archive all your old Salesforce records, to keep your data in the CRM fresh, and to reduce your ongoing platform costs. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for more insights from Naonis, and feel free to reach out at naonis.tech.